All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Free Friday coaching call. Super excited for today's call and our conversation. For those of you that may be joining for the first time, my name is Casey Council Jiha. These calls have been going on for several years now, and they started originally as Rick's Free Friday coaching call. My late husband, who by the time he passed in 2023, had 43 years in the real estate industry, where he had created relationships literally all over the world and always gave out his phone number and said, "You need any help with anything, you call me directly." People did. And so that got to be a capacity challenge. And he created this conversation to be able to have a one to many conversation in the industry for people that he loved, regardless of what company they were with or what they were doing. So there's people from all different levels of experience that jump on this call, all different companies that jump on this call, and the commonality that we've kept moving forward. So we're always focused in conversations that are developing both a skill set and the mindset to continue to grow and really thrive in an industry, in the industry of real estate, which we've all chosen to be in. And so I'm super grateful to have each and every one of you here today, and for our guest that's here to let me pick his brain of all of the good stuff. We're going to get in and dig around. I do it loosey goosey style, which is there's no script and there's no set of prepared questions, because I like to get to the real stuff and just see what organically happens in these conversations. And so I'm excited to have a conversation today with our guest. I think you're going to love him. Before we do that, this will be recorded. It is being recorded. It gets sent out. There's over 900 people signed up on our email list that request being included in these and getting the recordings afterwards. So you will be able to get a copy of it. A little bit about today's guest. I actually am going to read it because I think if I had had a year to memorize it, I still wouldn't have it down. And I want to make sure that anything that comes out of my mouth is always accurate. So Jeremy's joining us today from Westchester County, and he has been the number one individual agent in Westchester County by dollar volume in 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. Yes, that would be every year. And since 2017, he's been the number one KW luxury agent in his office and the number one individual KW luxury agent in Westchester. I think what's really cool is that in 2016, he ranked in the top 3% of Keller Williams agents nationally. And he has a bunch of other things that are really absolutely incredible. Uh, the most incredible thing I think is that he does all of this business, 50 plus transactions a year, not purchasing leads, while having how many kids?
$3.
Three daughters on top of
Wonderful,
that.
wonderful daughters, I should
Three
say.
wonderful daughters. And so is a family first guy and very obviously committed to helping his clients in the industry and doing an incredible business, which we're going to dig in and get to hear a little bit about today. So I'm super thankful, Jeremy, for you being willing to join us on the call this morning. And for those of you, because we got some feedback on a call recently that it was like too much story. And so I want to set some context for why we go into the story and why we go into the story of each person that I interview, of what they were doing before real estate, and why they're still in real estate for however many years that's been, is because I think it's really important because we have new agents that are coming into this industry all the time. And for those of you that are seasoned agents, you know the success rate and the stay rate of those is very, very low. And then there's agents that come in, and will do this business kind of like as a hobby for some extra. And if they are serious about the extra and they're doing it casually, can be an experience of being kicked in the head, and they like, is this going to work for me? I don't know who would do this. And then there are people looking to transition from full-time careers into making real estate their full-time career and don't know how to bridge that gap, and everything in between. So the reason why we dig into the stories of each person that is going to be interviewed is so that there's a connectability and a relatability, perhaps for you where you're at in your career right now, and to support you in feeling encouraged, inspired, and really maybe re-inspired. The hope to know that if one can, anyone can. So if you're newer or regardless of where you're at in your career, it's, there's no magic. And the stories of understanding that we're all human. I think sometimes it's so easy to go, Well, he didn't have the same challenges that I have. He's not in the same market that I have. Well, he doesn't have daughters. Oh, yes, he does. He has three. It's like all of the things that we get so trivial about as humans when we look at the things that are potentially standing in our way or that we feel are standing in our way that are not actually, it's just a perception. And so I always like to dig into the human part of the story of who we're going to hear from before we dig into the business part and all of the nuggets that will come from that, because we're in a people business. It's about relationships, and it's how we create relationships with people. It's not just having the surface stuff that you can go read numbers and stats online, but really who's the person behind that. And I think there's so much that we can learn from the human suit of being human. So Jeremy, we're definitely going to jump into the what and the how you do what you do and the magic behind all of that. But what I'm really eager to hear about is, what led you to the industry of real estate? Why have you, what do you love about it? And why have you decided to stay in it in the way that you have all these years?
Thanks for having me on the call. This is very exciting for me. Um, this is a great industry. You meet tons of people. You see some beautiful houses and properties, and I like the variety of people that I meet, and I feel like I really help people. Unlike I think a lot of the people you probably interview, um, I'm two-thirds on the buy side, which I think in my point in my career, people would be saying, "Oh, you have to switch to the listing side." And my coach Jim over there in the corner always, you know, digs me for that. But I love working with buyers, especially, and I feel like I can help people, and that's one reason I also really like doing this.
I love that. And what were you doing before real estate?
I worked on Wall Street, so came from a finance background. Um, I really didn't plan to do real estate. I thought I would trade forever. I loved it. It was always my dream. Um, I was in a like a research analyst training program. I covered like in the late '90s. I was covering internet and computer software companies, and I was in this 2 year training program. And I really didn't like it, but I learned how to use Excel, which was great. And I left after 18 months because a friend of mine was trading and said you should come to my group. And so I started trading in 1999, and it was unbelievable. So that might be the best job. This is the second best job.
Well, I love that. So, as you were describing what you were doing, trading and working on Wall Street, like, I don't know if you could see my face was starting to contort because my brain was actually starting to hurt, while at the same time, your face was lighting up with joy, like you just been giving candy at a candy shop.
Yeah.
So, there, and someone might think, well, what's a guy that's, loves trading on Wall Street and geeks out on that kind of stuff? Like, how's he going to go love working with people in the way that it takes to work with people in real estate, where you've got to be like a therapist, emotional
Marriage
support,
counselor.
marriage
Yes.
counselor, financial, like all of the things. So what was it? Why the transition from that to real estate?
So in 2000, I traded for like 5 or 6 years after the research analyst program. And then we were looking for a house while I was still trading. My wife and I, we didn't have kids yet. She was pregnant, and we could not find an agent that we liked. And we went through 4 or 5 different agents, and she said, "You should do this." And my trading career was really good, and then it like sort of stabilized, and it was good. I could have kept trading, but it was fun to do something else, try something new. So I moved my office from the city to the suburbs where we bought a house here in Westchester and White Plains. And I would go into the office, I would trade the open and the close, and I would look at houses and try to build a business in the middle of the day. And I quickly realized that wasn't possible. You have to be all in on something or you're not doing anything well. So I decided to try real estate. And it was a slow build, but it was great. It's been great. I'm really glad that I switched. So, and I can still trade. I still have a trading account, so keep my hand in it a little bit.
Yeah, we don't want to take your fun away.
Exactly.
Not at all. So I'm looking at one of the things that I have in my notes about you, and it's that Real Trends Wall Street Journal recognized you as one of the top 450 agents in the US in 2017, at that point, out of 1.3 million agents.
Hmm.
So I think one of the things that happens for people, myself included, is that when we look at people where they're at today, it is hard to relate to them ever being a beginner, them ever
Right.
not being great at what they're doing and having those kind of things. So if you can, I'd love for you to take us back to when you started, and this would be, this message specifically would be for agents that are newer or haven't actually, you said something really important. Napoleon Hill talks about it in the context of burning the ships, which is getting all in on something and, being committed to it and devoted to it to really make it go and make it work, which is a really important concept. But talk about the beginning for people that are newer in their careers, where your experience was at, what you were experiencing, where your mindset was at, and what it felt like as a newer agent learning the business and kind of learning the ropes of what it was going to take to succeed.
So I still don't say no to anyone. I'll do sales and rentals and investors and tenants and landlords. Um, I just rented a place for $1,800 a month for someone. Like, and I'm also selling a house for almost $3 million. And I would encourage anyone and everybody to just do everything, because that $1,800 a month tenant, I'm sure they know someone who can help me get a bigger transaction. So, especially in the beginning of my career, I was always more focused on just doing more deals. And even now, like, I look at my numbers and I just want to do a deal a week. I want to do 52 deals a week. Like, as a solo agent, I'm happy with that. Hopefully, they're all like at higher price points. So my goal has always been number of deals and not hitting a certain dollar number in terms of GCI. Um, and that's why my business built slowly, maybe, because I did it that way. Um, I don't know. Sometimes I like to think that I'm going viral. I talk to lots of people. I'm in front of lots of different demographics, and it's worked out. So don't say no to anyone. Like, be open to business. It's everywhere. It's all around you, and help people. I mean, it's a great reputation to be able to say that somebody came to you because they heard that you can help them.
I love
So.
that. So there's two things about what you said that I think that are really important. Number one is that we're in a relationship business, obviously, and in a relationship business and in a sales business, it's important to have a context of service. And so you went into being a professional in the industry in the context of serving, regardless of what it was that needed to be served. And
Hmm.
so if it needs to be sold or purchased, I can help you do it in the context of real estate. And you went into it with that, which is incredible and also really smart, because if you think about it, the value of a client is not the transaction of a client. The value of a client is their network and how many referrals, because of the experience they had with you and the trust that was developed of how great a job you did for them and took care of them, that
Hmm.
is going to open up, no pun intended, new doors in the future, right?
Hmm.
And so that's a long-term game to invest in people and build and develop relationships like that, where that happens, right? Because there's many people that have an experience in real estate where they wouldn't use their agent again, or your experience, like when you went out to purchase for the first time and you went through multiple agents that you didn't really like, didn't connect with. So let alone you're not going to do repeat business or referral business with them because you're not even doing business with them the first time around. And
Hmm.
so I think that mindset is really important to highlight and just check in for anybody, particularly if you're frustrated right now in your business. Is my mindset that I'm coming from service and investing in relationships to create experiences for people that are going to be so amazing that they're going to want other people that they love and care about and know to have a similar experience when they have a need in this sector. So
Hmm.
so talk about, like, has there ever been, before we get into the, like, one transaction a week is, I was watching all of the faces that are actually on video, and you said, all I want to do is one transaction a week. And it was almost like people didn't hear it because all of the looks are deadpan, except for Jim, of course, who I love. I love having Jim on Zoom calls because the more I get to know him, the more I love him. And it's like everything is on his face. He does not have a poker face. And I love that. No poker faces. But the rest of you have poker faces. You're like he didn't say one transaction a week. But he went, and that would be 52 a year, 52
Hmm.
weeks in a year, some quick math, unless you're going to be a slacker and take holidays off. Ha ha. Holiday is a day, not a month. Anyway, so before it was your goal to have one transaction a week, can you think of a time in your business where you were doing deals, you were getting deals done, and you had hit a wall, so to speak, of just like, is this going to work for me? Do I want to keep doing this? Did you ever have that experience? And if so, tell us about that.
Yes. So I started coaching in 2016 um, because I felt like I wasn't going anywhere. I couldn't, like there's that like E to P thing, like you have your entrepreneurial ability and then you realize your potential. You kind of break through the ceiling once you get somebody to tell you the right things to do. And then you actually have to do them. I do half of the things that I'm told to do. If I'm lying, I probably do less than that. Um, yeah, and I really like my business. Actually, I'm just looking at my numbers. I haven't done less business in terms of number of deals, or in terms of volume, or in terms of GCI since 2016. So like, it's great that everyone's on a free coaching call, but you should also get a paid coach, I think, because it will definitely help you. And I'm not being paid to be here. Um, but it's definitely worth it. And I don't know anybody's level on this phone call, but it's definitely worth it to have somebody guide you in the right direction. So that's what really helped me, and I'm thankful for that every day. So
I love that. So now this is going to really challenge the mindset and thinking of some of the agents that are on this call. Because if 2016 till now, we had a couple of things happen, a global pandemic, an NAR, la 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 la, interest rates, la 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 la, and all of the reasons why people are saying my business is down, I'm not doing as much business, the market's hard, people aren't doing
hmm
anything right now, la 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 la, all of the
hmm
stuff. And yet, here's you that since 2016, volume and transaction wise, has been consistently doing a steady business, 50 plus transactions a year around a similar volume through all of that. So I'm going to say this loud and clear for everyone that's on the call again, in case you missed it in the beginning of the conversation. If one can, anyone can. And if you're not, why not you?
hmm my
And
my business is up. Sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
My business is up. My volume is up 80% year over year.
Oh, that's
So there's
terrible.
opportunity out there,
You're
and
such a
I'm
slacker, Jeremy.
I'm happy to take it away from the agents who aren't doing what they should do. Right. This is my unfair share, and I'm here to get it all.
I love that. So 2016, you hire a coach, and I love what you said about here we are on a free Friday coaching call, which means all somebody has to do is log in. And so there's zero skin in the game for anybody to walk away from today and implement or integrate anything because they didn't have to put anything in the game to be here other than a login, right? And where money goes, like where my money goes, my attention goes there. And this is what you're referring to from a coaching perspective of regardless of what was happening or not happening in the world, in the market, in the industry, in the in the world of interest rates, what's been steady and consistent is that you've done what successful people do, which is continue to invest the time and the money to become more successful. So not having a personal coach that you pay to have is not even hasn't been in your thought process clearly based on results because for 9 years straight, regardless of all of those changes and ups and downs, that has stayed steady as you really recognize the value of investing in you. And oh, by the way, success leaves clues. If one can, anyone can. And we have the benefit of having somebody that is in the mindset of understanding what it takes to be successful. And then number two, being willing. Okay, so you said you implement, less than 50%, maybe 25. That's hilarious. My definition of success is forward progress towards worthy goals, not perfection at hitting them. So as far as I'm concerned, based on how do I define success, 25% is great. Your coach Jim Knowlton may not be like jumping around for 25%, but I would jump around for 25% all day long because it means progress, right? And being up 80% year over year, really incredible as well. So we've got some, clear indicators of things. Number one, you have an expectation. Oh, what I'm looking to do is get, one contract per week. that leads to a closing. Number two, non-negotiable is I'm investing the time and money to be professionally coached, so that there's someone not just showing me the way that is holding me to a higher standard to integrate and execute regardless. So coaching, having a personal coach, non-negotiable. If there's
Mhm.
anything else that you could say has been really important to you in your journey of seeing the consistency, I mean, this is like really incredible, Jeremy. I want to acknowledge you for that because there is not, I, I'm thinking about who are the agents I know that can say they have a, a consistent business year over year and that's growing. And that is not generally the experience of an agent. It's like it's the highest of highs, it's the
Yeah,
lowest of
it's like
lows.
lumpy.
They're
Right.
less high, they're less low, but they're still doing this. And then here you are creating a totally different experience.
Mhm.
So the expectation of I'm looking to get mine one a week, the success principle of put your money where your mouth is and investing yourself regardless, doesn't matter what's happening. What else would you say has been really important for you? If there was one more thing that has created the consistency in your business and the success and growth over time.
I like to track things. That comes from my background. I mean, like I said, I learned how to use spreadsheets, so everything I do is on a spreadsheet, basically, which makes me old. But they're functional and they're very easy, and you open it up and you see exactly where you stand. So I track everything. I track the number of referrals. I track the number of deals. I track my prospects. I track the offers submitted and accepted, and you can see where you need to work when those numbers start to fall or where they're not where you want them to be, um, and they don't lie. So I look at that, and it helps to have a coach to do that. But if you don't have a coach, you can still do that. That's not difficult to do. So
Oh, well, it is difficult, Jeremy. Let's be honest. It's difficult emotionally to do that because it's self accountability at the highest level. And human nature is I don't want to look at, I don't want to see the things that I don't want to see that are could possibly create a way that I don't feel great when I see and look at them. And so the willingness to divorce yourself from the feeling of what that might feel like to do it anyway in the context of looking to see how you can grow. I don't remember who said it, but things get created twice. They get created once in the mind and then second in reality. And
mm,
if like every single thing, the watch that I'm wearing, my iWatch, uh, somebody had to have this idea in their mind and get it on paper or some format to be able to look at it, to continue that design, to bring it to life, to bring it to reality, right? And so when I think about from a business perspective, okay, I want to do, 50 plus transactions a year. How do I take that from my mind and bring that to reality? This third piece that you're talking about tracking everything. So you're looking at it and looking at it for what's working and what can be improved. I think that's a really important takeaway for people that are on the call because a lot of times people will look at tracking through a lens of shame of I should
mhm,
be doing more, I'm not being blah, 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 and they make it emotional versus take the emotion out of it. There's no emotion in the numbers. The number is, I had a coach that used to say, put the number in the box. There's no room for the story, Casey. Nobody cares about the story. It's a number. And you can make whatever stories you want up about those numbers all day long, but at the end of the day, it's a number. So you've
mhm.
got this third, I'm going to call it third leg of tracking and accountability, holding yourself accountable and looking at always like, okay, what's working, what can be improved. So since tracking seems to be a challenge for most humans that I know, tell me, like, how do you make yourself do it? Do you have alarms in your phone? Do your kids you don't get dinner till it happens? Like,
Yep.
how have you made yourself be consistent in the tracking space?
Um, I use I'm an Android person. I use Google Keep, which is like a notepad. So I just everything I need to do, I put it on there. I look at it many times a day, um, and then it goes. The important stuff goes to the spreadsheet also, to Google Sheets, and I can see what I need to do. Um, for me, that's simple. That's kind of how I think. So I keep all my prospects on there. I do have a database. I you know I am smart like that, to have a database, but I really keep everything on the spreadsheet. So um, I don't look at it as being I kind of look at it as I want to help more people. So if I'm falling behind, it's like there are other people out there there are other buyers and sellers out there being served by an agent who's probably not as good as me, and I need to save them. So it sounds terrible, and I'm bad. This is being recorded, and I just said that,
Mhm.
but I can do a better job than most other people, so I should be out there and help them.
And I would say that's not terrible because it's in alignment with what you started off the call with, which is the context of service.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you want, when you're about serving and helping people and you want
Yeah.
people to have the best experience possible, and you know that you can create that, that falls within a context of service. And now you said you look at it multiple times a day. Is this like something that you take into the restroom with you, like that many multiple times a day, like every opportunity you get, you're checking it? What do you mean by multiple times a day that you're looking at it, and why would be?
I'm always putting stuff on there. Oh, I
Okay.
remember I have to do something, so I just put it in Google Keep, and then I see what else I have to do and what I haven't done. I'm looking at it at the beginning of the day, multiple times during the day, and at the end of the day. Did I do everything I need to do, or not? This morning I got up, I woke up at 6:40. Um, I was texting with a client a little after 7. Trying to arrange a showing for Sunday. So that's when he's free. So that's when I'm free. This is all about service. I know that a lot of people like to keep business to business hours, but I don't do that. I'm available. I'm in a customer service business, so that's what I do. So yeah, I check that all the time.
Okay, I love that. So I think there's something we can all learn from that, and that is, uh, the sharpest pencil is better than the best memory, so to speak, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Because I know for me, I'm like, oh yeah, it's in my head. I got to da 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 da. And if I don't, like, you have a great habit around getting whatever's in your head out of your head documented, so that you can perform at a higher level and serve at a higher level. I think that's a really important piece, and you've got it in one place. You know, for those of you that know Rick or me well, and there's like sticky notes, things on paper towels, napkins, notebooks. Rick always had his notebooks that he walked around with. But none of them as effective as one place where everything goes in a system like you've got it. So again, another, hint towards success, leaving clues. Now, I know that your family is really, really important to you. You've got 3 daughters. How old are they?
Uh, 20, 18, and 14. Two in
That's like
college, one in 10th grade.
That's almost home stretch, except for not
Yeah,
really,
it
because
feels
they're
like
not
it.
all married yet. So you like home
Yeah.
stretch isn't home stretch until they're married, and then there's grandkids. So I don't know if there's ever actually a home stretch. Anyhow, I know that your family is really important to you, and being active and present in your family is important to you. And you said something that some people might have heard as like, no, I don't know, because my family is important to me, and so my business hours are when I set them versus when the client wants to be served. You said that you're doing close to 60% of your business is buyer business. And we know based on the number of hours it takes to work with a buyer versus a seller. So 60% of 50 transactions. So close to 30 transactions a year are
Mhm.
buy side deals, which are requiring more time and energy and investment. And you clearly have systems in place. How have you kept family and your family relationships and the importance of time with your family and personal time balanced with the high level of service mindset that you have? And clearly, we're not even going to get to the part where it's you and a virtual assistant and that's it, doing all these transactions. How does that all work?
I mean, there's no balance. Like balance is not. I don't think it's a real thing. Um, I think it's setting an example. Like my wife also, she works. She's a doctor. She's a full time career. So we're both busy, and I think it sets an expectation and teaches a work ethic. So the girls look at us and they know what they have to do. I mean, yes, we're going to have like a legacy to leave them, but they're going to have to work hard also. They just don't get handed stuff. And we see, some of our friends' kids get treated in a different way. Um, I think it's important for them to see that we're working and that we're serving and that we're helping people. So I don't care about, our phone's away at dinner, but when my kids are doing their homework, why can't I work? I don't need to be watching a stupid TV show. I can be helping someone. So that's what I do. That's how I look at it.
I love
And
that.
my wife is doing her charts and I'm texting with a client, like that happens every day.
Yeah. Well, I think that, a couple of things. Number one, uh, I was talking with someone recently and they said, the goal of parents is to raise uh, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually healthy humans that can go out and be independent and productive in society. And the what you mentioned about modeling work ethic, I think is really important. And the fact that you can have a dual income household. Your wife being a doctor obviously is demanding and a high level of service, and what you've chosen as a career in real estate, the same. And yet you have um, parented and raised kids that see what it takes to be successful in all areas of life, personally and professionally, by doing what it takes to be successful in all areas of life. And that I hear it often, particularly, I think more for moms, is like, the guilt of being there for the children, or, feeling pulled. And I think that's really, I mean, I love what you said about that. It's the context that gets put in based on what your objectives are and the kind of family you want to raise and the kind of adults that you want to have going out into the world to set them up for success, where entitled to nothing because they didn't create it, they didn't work to create it, and they'll get to go work to create their own. And
Yeah.
having examples of two people that are doing that is really incredible.
But there's also opportunity with all these things. So, we go to softball practice and softball tournaments for my 10th grader. There are lots of like potential clients out there, you know? So these are all dual purpose events. Volunteering at school and, those kinds of places also is really good for business.
So I think that's a really important thing, is that you don't have it in a bucket. It's not like it is one thing called your life. And so
Yeah,
Jeremy shows up in his life in the context of service. He's serving his family in the way that are all the family related things. And then as you're doing those things, you're looking to serve in any way that you can. And so
hmm,
naturally business comes from that. And it's not like I'm working versus I'm not working. It's here I am as a human and I'm serving. And then those opportunities come to you. And some of them translate into, relationships like family relationships, and other of them translate into business relationships that have a transaction attached to them, perhaps at some point, or multiple transactions.
totally. Multiple is better. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, multiple is always better. Okay, so here's the $1 million question.
All right.
How,
I'm ready.
so it's a multi-million dollar question, actually, no pressure. Uh, for many agents, the um, the experience is they have a transaction or maybe multiple transactions happening, and all of the things, the lead generation that drives new business. I mean, I think one of the key things about your business that's so impressive is that you're not purchasing leads from anywhere. And so lead gen drops off for most agents when they're, busy in a transaction. And you are doing this business consistently year after year, you and one virtual assistant. 50
Hmm.
plus transactions a year. So how does that actually function? Like from a roles and responsibility perspective, it's where is your time and energy going? And then what are the roles and responsibility, time and energy, that on the virtual assistant perspective, that allows this to run and work just the two of you?
So I pay the VA for 40 hours a week and she's great, but I really use her like 5 hours a week, which I feel a little bad about. But the things that she does are things that I absolutely hate doing and I do not want to do. And she's really good at them. So, and that's enough. That's worthwhile enough for me. And that's basically managing some spreadsheets. I don't like the way the market data is collected and presented through my MLS. So for the last, I don't know, dozen years at least, I've been tracking things on a monthly, quarterly, and weekly basis. So I have some huge spreadsheets, and so she knows what to do to keep those up. Um, and one thing I can always do with people is talk about numbers because I'm tracking them all the time. And she's always telling me, "Oh, I updated this on Monday. I updated this at the end of the month." So she does that for me, but it's really not a huge um, part of what I do. Um, I mean, I wake up in the morning, kids go to school, I end up writing a lot of like handwritten thank you notes to people, like my house anniversary cards, on the anniversary of someone's transaction. I make a little handwritten note. Thanks for working with me. I can't believe it's been 15 years since you bought a house. Hope you're still happy. I put in a lottery ticket, a little scratch off ticket, and I say, I hope this is the winning ticket, and send it off. So I write a bunch of those like every day. And also for referrals, if you send me a referral, I'll send you a similar kind of note with the lottery ticket. Um, I've gotten over 70 referrals year to date. So
How
we want to
many?
over 70.
70
So
referrals year to date.
71 to be exact.
Mm.
So, and that's up. Like, let's see here, my spreadsheet right here. Last year I got 74. So this year I'll do more than that. And most of
So
those, by the way, are not agent to agent referrals. I mean, I bet I have 3 agent to agent referrals in that. The rest of them are all personal referrals.
you're like a you're like the bionic man of real estate, Jeremy.
Uh,
So, walk us through, you started on this track, but walk us through what a day looks like for you. So kids go to school, you're doing your handwritten notes, and what happens?
I'm always looking at what I need to do, like in terms of the spreadsheet and the Google Keep, like what's on my to-do list. Um, but I mean, on a busy day, I have 6 or 7 appointments, like different clients I'm showing houses to, or previewing houses and shooting videos and sending them off. Um, so I'm trying to go to as many houses. Like I secretly want to go to about 50 houses a week. That's kind of my soft goal. Um, I don't usually broadcast that, but I often get to 50 a week because you want to know the market. You want to be able to talk to people about what's selling, what isn't selling, why it's not selling. I know that neighborhood. I know that is a downward slope and it's really bad in the rain. Like the only way to know that is to actually go and be there. So I try to go out and see a lot of houses. Um, I go to the office maybe 3 days a week. I don't have a printer at home, so I go to print stuff out. um, can't afford a printer, you know. I don't want to deal with the ink and the toner. It's terrible. So so I go there to print, and otherwise I'm just like sitting here in my kitchen, and I don't really make a lot of phone calls. I'm really like a text and email person because I can do that on my time. So I try to train my clients to reach out to me that way. Even though I say I'm always available by phone, I really don't want my phone to ring. So I'm just kind of running around all day and wrapping it up at night, just like lots of emails and texts. So
Casey, can I just say something really quick? I'm sorry. Because we were talking as we were getting on the Zoom, and I realized he was in his kitchen, and I said, "You don't work in an office." He doesn't work in an office. He has no printer. He doesn't have, I think about all the excuses we hear from agents about why they can't get started or why they can't get work done. And I'm like, Jeremy's over here killing it, sitting at the kitchen counter with no
mhm.
printer. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
sorry, I had to take a second.
Well, this is about walking into a house and showing people. I had a phone call, like a new client, a new buyer interview last night. They were interviewing me, and they're interviewing other agents also. I spent half an hour on the phone with them at 7:30 last night. So at the end of the phone call, they said, "Well, let's we have to interview for other people, and then we'll get back to you." And I said, "Whoa, hold on a minute." I said, "The way to interview someone is not to do this. Like, pick 2 houses. I'll show you the houses. Ask the other agents to show you houses." I said, "I'm going to be better at showing houses. Like, that's the job. So let's go see some houses. Let's put a date on the calendar." So they were reluctant to do that, but they said, "Yeah, I think we're going to do that. We're going to ask everyone to be available to show us a house." And yeah, I could talk from experience. I've probably been in that house, right? Because it's sold before. So
I love that. So, 50 plus transactions a year is the goal. Seeing 50 houses a week or properties a week is also the goal. And then you start your morning off with your main, we'll call it lead generation time, is handwritten notes. And you've trained your clients to communicate in the way that you want to be communicated with, which is text or email. So you don't have to be on the phone. I mean, I think this is really a genius plan, Jeremy.
is this 2025 or 1992? I buy a lot of stamps, so I do. So,
Well,
by the
here's a
way,
beaut.
I keep stamps for different people. Like
Oh,
I have like I kind of know what some people like and don't like, so I'll do. And they're not political, but I have some different stamps that I use for different people. I'll just say that.
I love that. So here is I think back, like Rick's words ring in my head all the time, and he would always say everything works and nothing doesn't. Everything
Hmm.
works and nothing doesn't. And so there's so many distractions. Buy this, do that, you know. I mean, we're like flooded with the secret sauce. Everything's the secret this is going to get you that. And it's noise. There's a lot of noise, right? And what I love about what you've shared is you understand that we're in a people business, and people business is serving people, helping them get what it is that they want. And if we do that at a really high level, that leads to more people that we have business to do with. And
And
then
help. And more people to
you're
help.
yeah, more people to help. And that practice that is, we'll call it your set lead generation, which is really relationship investment. It's going to be a handwritten note. And I think that's one of the most incredible ways to set yourself apart. I mean, there's services that, because I've received them from like my insurance agent, and
Hmm.
it looks like this card that is sent to me, but I know that he didn't sign it and he didn't write it because it was done by a computer and a service that they use to make sure that they're touching clients on birthdays and holidays, right? And so I have one person that I can think of, Sarah Gouldy, who many of you on this call
Yeah,
know,
it's great.
that I receive handwritten notes from her and my parents when they've come to visit, and my sister when they've come to visit, or around monumental things. And past that, I can't really think of anyone that I receive handwritten notes from. And I know a lot of people. I checked, I have over 5,000 people in my phone as of yesterday, buying a new phone and doing the updates to convert all that data. And so you've chosen one thing to do consistently that is very personal, that's a human to human touch. And that is essentially your retention, referral, and relationship nurturing strategy. And then 6 to 7 showings potentially during the day, 50 homes previewed, serve clients when they're there to be served, work family time, be present for meals. And then anywhere else is a time where if the kids are working, we're working. And if we're doing things that are associated with events, those are relationship opportunities as well, and taking advantage of developing relationships. You make it sound so simple, Jeremy.
So easy. Why isn't everyone doing this? So if only my coach told me, then I would have hit this sooner. So
I love that. So
no,
there's a
business is
saying.
great. This is the best industry in the world, right? You can make your own schedule and have the freedom and flexibility, but you have to do certain things. So just do them. It's not that hard. It's very simple.
And it comes down to a saying. I don't know who said it, who knows who said what first, or who it actually came from. Everyone puts their names on the quotes. I'll just tell you, this isn't mine. Is that the things that are easy to do are also the things that are easy not to do.
Hmm.
Like, it's not hard to write a handwritten note and,
Right.
throw a stamp on it that's been specially thought of for someone
Yeah.
and put it in the mail. That's not a complicated thing to do. It's an easy thing to do, yet how many people are actually doing it? It's an easier thing not to do for most people. So,
I think
clearly,
the tracking, I think, is the most important thing, though. So you know what you're falling behind on.
yeah, yeah. So if we're to like recap everything, we go back to relationships, service, investing in yourself with a coach, non-negotiable, where you've got skin in the game, money on the line, and the tracking that holds yourself accountable and very familiar at all times with what's working and what can be improved based on what your personal targets are, which is a contract a week, 50 homes a week, and serving people to whatever level to get that done. It's
And,
very cool that your volume's gone up year over
and
year
one
too.
more thing to add is that like I've had a personal balance sheet for I don't know 25 years, and I update it every quarter and I present it to my wife.
Oh,
And if none of you have a personal balance sheet, you should make one. Um, it's great because when you die, someone's going to want to know where all your stuff is anyway. So she knows how to get into my spreadsheet, and just there, everything is right there. So you should have one for estate planning purposes, but it's also good because again, what you track, you'll be able to see it grow or not grow, and like, what do I need to do to make my life better?
so
So
basically the biography could be written if you just open up the spreadsheet, someone could write your life story.
Now I sound boring, Casey.
No, it's not boring at all. It's the success leaves clues, and half the people forget what they've actually done because we block it out, right? And then someone else has to remind us. But not when you have a spreadsheet that just has it all right there.
Yeah.
And our
I'll say,
spreadsheet lever, Selena's in the top left corner of my screen. So every time I say the word spreadsheet, her face lights up. So like everyone else
also,
is
I'll
like,
tell you, the best place to find it is the retirementmanifesto.com. They have like a balance sheet. You can just I just took that template and made it, put my own stuff in there. So
I
it's
love
great.
that. So if there's one thing that you would say in conclusion, as we bring this part of our call to a close, if there's one thing that you could say to everyone on the call today, um, like words of wisdom or anything that you haven't shared up until this point, what would that be?
I mean, I guess you have to track what you want to see in your life, right? Like do more of what's working and less of what's not. So you have to know where you're going. So I guess that means setting a goal and figuring out how to get there. Break it down into small pieces. Does that make sense?
And execute, yeah.
And execute. Yeah.
And have a spouse that you give your balance sheet to every quarter.
Yeah. I mean,
I
that
mean,
holds me
that's
accountable too. She was the original coach. The
that is
accountability partner, not coach. Yeah.
that is some
So,
high level accountability. And
mhm.
I'm sure, it makes for, well, it probably makes for a really great partnership, right? Because I think that after, being in partnership for so many years, and many of you on this call are as well, that one of the greatest things to any partnership or relationship is transparency.
Mhm.
And a lot of times we walk around not knowing, and things aren't really transparent and they're discovered over time or not discovered. And that's how we find out what's not working versus having a proactive approach around transparency in the context of partnership,
Mhm.
for family, right? And so I think that I love your approach. I love that you lead by example. I love that nothing's left up to chance and that success becomes predictable, right? It's not am I going to be successful or am I not going to be successful? It's here's what there is to do to create the success. And then it's a matter of executing and tracking that, consistently over time, which clearly you've done. So I want to thank you so much for being willing to come on and share today, and tons of value in the recording. We'll make sure that you get it. And we'll keep track. I expect to see things like in the 50 plus going up and up. If not,
Here
I'm
we
gonna
go.
go have a conversation with your coach and say, WTF, Jim Knowlton.
Crack the whip. Thank you.
Yes. All right. So we're going to transition now to the next part of our call. For those of you that have been on the calls regularly and consistently, you know that we have a strategic alliance in place now to help all of you that want to be helped have a resource to be able to develop relationships, service your clients, and ideally do more business as a result of the alliance that we have in place. There's two people that are on the call today, and Peter's going to be the one that I'm going to be introducing. His business partner is Kristen, that you also see there in red. I'm going to let them tell you about what the red's for because it's Fridays and it always happens. Fridays are red. But through Fairway Mortgage, most of you that are going to be in Miami will be with us on Monday night for the yacht dinner cruise, and you'll be able to meet them there in person. Today, super excited to have them on the call. And at the end of our Free Friday coaching calls, they're going to be coming on consistently now and adding value, different things that are resources that are available to you. Peter's got 25 years in the industry. He's licensed in Florida, Texas, and Nevada. He's been recognized as the top 1% of mortgage originators in the US for 5 consecutive years, and is proudly representing Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation, one of the top 5 lenders in the nation. And so super excited to have you on the call for the first time today, Peter, and looking forward to what you have to share with us.
Yeah, thank you so much, Casey. And Kristen, thanks for inviting me to be on this call. And I appreciate it. It's a privilege to be here. So my name is Pete. I'm in California, by the way. So California, I'm licensed in, obviously. So, but Rick, I'm not a Dodger fan, so I'm rooting for the Brewers. So hope you guys can make a comeback. But I live here in Hermosa Beach, California, which is part of LA. I've been doing mortgages for about 27 years now. So I just wanted to kind of, there's a lot of things you could talk about in the mortgage world. But I just want to kind of talk on obviously the most important thing is getting clients' offers accepted, right? We want to make sure the deal closes smooth. Unless every one of your buyers is a cash deal, you want to do everything you can to make sure to help get your client's offer accepted. And that part of that's being having a great buying agent, but also having a lending partner that can help you get the offer accepted as well. So we all know clients are looking at homes without getting pre-approved. I could turn around a pre-approval quickly in most cases, but not every case. But what I wanted to talk about, and I'm not sure you guys have all heard about getting a client fully underwritten versus a pre-approval. So, and I don't know how, I mean, it's different in all parts of the country, but I'm in California, and most closings, as soon as you sign an offer, that's the sales contract, and they want to close typically in 21 days or less. Sometimes I just had a $3.9 million purchase accepted that was 18 days escrow. That means you have to actually close within 17 days. So everything happens super fast. So what I try to push, and I'll get all my clients a step further. We'll spend time up front getting them fully underwritten, which means we'll get all their documents, all their financials, which we do with a pre-approval anyways, but we'll go ahead. That's a great compete with cash or to compete with any closer offer. And we can't do that if somebody comes to me today and wants to get pre-approved and needs to make an offer tonight, because we'll need some time, about a week, to get that fully underwritten. But I highly recommend, and it's sometimes getting the client to do all that work before they find that house, because I feel like all these clients, they don't want to do anything until they find that dream house. But then, as everyone knows, sometimes that's too late, because they haven't done what they need to do to get pre-approved, or they're not ready to make that offer. And so I try to have all my realtor partners really kind of express that to their client too. Hey, try to get Pete get fully underwritten with Pete, or with whoever you work with, any mortgage lender, Kristen, anybody, whoever you work with. It can take it a step further, and you can literally, compete with cash, because that's what we want to do. We want to get our clients' offers accepted. And if they can literally waive loan contingency, I think it's a game changer. You know what I mean? And I wish I could do it on every loan. Unfortunately, I do it on a small percentage of loans, but I'm trying to get that number up. But it's just convincing the client, and with the help of a good realtor partner, both of us pushing the client to take it a step further and make sure they get all the documents. They'll have to e-sign some disclosures, but really just, getting the client set up to have their best chance to get an offer accepted. Unless they have cash to pay cash for the home, they need some other advantage in getting their offer accepted. And that's what I try to push with all my clients. And we can fully underwrite any file: conventional, VA, FHA, $3 million jumbo loan, a bank statement program. Any of these programs can be fully underwritten before the client even makes an offer on a house. So that's kind of the biggest thing that I wanted to I wasn't sure how much time I had. I just wanted to go over, because getting an offer accepted is what we're trying to do here. And I think getting a client fully underwritten is where we should try to push every client to do that. And get whatever mortgage person you're working with, they should be able to handle that, and get them to do all the work up front. And it's a lot easier. So when my clients get an offer accepted, I pretty much have nothing left to do, which is great, because they're already been fully underwritten. So
I just want to add to that, Pete. Fairway offers a cash guarantee pre-approval letter. That, I don't know, Pete, have you used that program at all?
I haven't used it. I've used it as talking points, but I haven't used it.
So basically, we have a pre-approval program that is a pre-approved loan, okay, that basically has gone straight to underwriting. It's a fully committed loan pending an address. And if something happens with the transaction, Fairway will actually purchase the home on behalf of the client, based upon the circumstance. If something happens and it's caused by we did something wrong, the borrower did something wrong, and we're in the wrong, which we never are, but these things can happen, we will do a cash guarantee pre-approval letter that basically turns around to the seller and says, there's no reason why you shouldn't accept this offer. It's got a cash guarantee with it. So, and again, that loan has been fully underwritten in our underwriting program. So I just wanted to share that along with, because we are nationwide in a situation where geographically some of these areas of concern, it's the alligators that are chomping, because we can try to get as many offers accepted as we possibly can, but sometimes it's a war, right? It's very competitive. So we try to offer as many situations to help and be more advantageous than most. So I just wanted to share that part.
I love that. So two things that I heard that stood out that were incredible. Number one is if you're being strategic and proactive, you position yourself to compete like a cash offer, which is great. And then the second thing that you said that stood out is you on the lending side being in relationship, alliance, and partnership with the agent so that you have one message going to the client. And a lot of times that's not how people are working. They're doing a handoff to the lender partner of their client versus working together with the lender partner. And that's where a lot of breakdowns happen. So, we're back to the context of what we started this call with, which is service and relationship. And then clearly, a proactive approach to be a strategic and competitive, which is incredible.
Well, I have to say, I wanted to blurt, as we call it at Fairway when we have our calls. I wanted to give a huge shake hands, round of applause to Jeremy, because I was actually, side note, texting Selena. Jeremy, you are astounding. I have to tell you, your character of being so confident is like empowering. And one thing that you said that carries a core value to Fairway is nobody does it better than you. You know what I mean? And I love that. And that's how we feel too, because we're a huge service, organization. We're a people person organization. We're servicing people all day, every day. And we want to, I heard it multiple times come from you. We are helping people. You are helping people. You are helping people. And that's what we do. We're here to serve and we're here to help. And we're here to help people to make the biggest decisions of their lifetime, and we're responsible for that. And that's a huge milestone that we're helping surpass with love, support, and lending hands. So I really wanted to share that. It was really heartfelt because that's how we operate. So I will share. I know we're almost at the 1 o'clock hour, but as Casey said, we do wear red. You can see that we both have red on today. We remember everyone deployed on Fridays at Fairway. I just wanted to share, if anybody has been in the service or is part of a family that is in the service, my heartfelt thanks for your service to you and your family. I shared this last time. If we don't wear red on Fridays, we can get a ticket. So we have a nonprofit organization, American Warrior Initiative program, and we've given out, I think Wheezy said this morning, Pete, were you on the call? It was like 422 service dogs that we've given out to our service veterans. So we're a huge nonprofit for our veterans. So that's what the Red Friday is all about.
I love that. Well, thank you for being with us on the call, Kristen, Peter, and Jeremy. We'll have the call recording out later today. It'll be posted on our YouTube channel. It'll go out in the email for everybody that's on the email list. We will see those of you that are going to be in Miami next week in Miami, and our next Free Friday coaching call will be on Friday, November 7th. So we'll look forward to seeing you there. Thank you once again for everyone that's on the call that's learning based. I'm sure there's like so many nuggets you can take and go and integrate and apply into your business. Jeremy, thank you for being willing to share so freely and for the benefit of everyone. You're an incredible example. Make it a great day, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.